Hi everyone, thank you so much for joining me on the mat today. Today we are going to do a honey hips flow, really going to focus on expanding and getting into those hip flexors nice and deeply so we feel very open and expansive and our hips feel like honey afterwards. So let's start and begin by taking a comfortable seated position on the center of our mat. And really ground our hip bones into the mat, into the ground. Elongate our spine so it is long, tall, and straight. Crown of the head is reaching up to the sky. Eyes are closed. Focusing on that inward gaze. Hands could be lightly resting on your knees, on your lap, whatever is comfortable for you. Just taking a moment to arrive here onto the mat. Arrive into this space, arrive into our body, tune into our breath, connect with our breath, taking some deep inhales all the way from the belly to the rib cage to the chest, and full exhales down from the chest, the rib cage, the belly. A deep inhale. And exhale. One more inhale. And exhale. One more inhale, holding it at the top. Hold it here, and on the exhale, we're going to exhale out of our mouth. So, just tuning into the rhythm of our own breath. Bringing our intention today on our mats to our awareness. Maybe it's to just cultivate openness in life in general, in the flow of life. Maybe it is to lean inward more, listen, tune inwardly more, to cultivate and work on your intuition, trusting yourself. Maybe it's just to be happy today. Maybe it's to have a good day. Anything can come into your mind for your intention for today's practice. And let's begin by taking one big inhale as our arms reach up above our head. Inhale. And exhale, we're going to fold forward at our hips. Begin with a nice forward fold. Using our breath to breathe into our hip space. Inhale, maybe we reach a little further. And you exhale, breathing into the hips to soften. Taking an inhale. And exhale, softening here. Taking one more inhale. And exhale, slowly rising back up to neutral position, bringing our hands behind us on an inhale. Exhale, pushing into our hands, pushing into our knees and lifting our hips up for a frontal hip stretch. Head can stay or fall back. Inhaling here and exhaling slowly. Release. Inhale, arms come up above our head. And on our exhale, we're going to side bend to the right, bringing our hands or forearm down into our mat, reaching all the way over to our right side. Really feeling that stretch in our left side body all the way from the hip, all the way through, up through the fingertips. On your inhale, maybe you can reach a little further. Exhale, you can soften a little more into the side stretch, still shining your heart forward and out. Inhale and exhale, coming back to center. Arms together. Inhale here and exhale. Side bend to the left side, forearm or hand coming down onto the mat. Right arm reaches over your head all the way to the left side of your mat, and your chest is pushing and pulling through, shining forward. Gaze can be looking up or down at the mat. Inhale for some length, and exhale, soften into the side bend. Inhale, and exhale, coming back through center, arms coming down in Anjali Mudra, prayer hands to our heart center. Just taking an inhale here, and exhale, our hands come down onto our knees, and just doing some gentle hip circles. Start bringing movements into the hips, start awakening the hips. You can go as gentle or as big or as deep as you need to. Keeping the eyes closed, tuning inward to your body, listening to what it's asking for. Listening to the spaces that need softening, that need to start being loosened. And you want to keep your tailbone still rooted down onto the mat. We're just focusing on moving the hip space here. Maybe just some little waves. Whatever feels good to you. And we're going to turn around, coming onto our hands and knees into a tabletop position. Hands directly below our shoulders and evenly pushing into the ground. Knees are hip width apart, directly below our hips. Toes can be tucked on the mat, or you can untuck your toes and have the top of your feet pushing down onto your mat. On an inhale, we're going to pull through, coming into cat pose, gaze, looking up. And an exhale, we're going to tuck our tailbone, rounding our spine and our shoulders, crown of the head reaching down towards the mat, cow. Inhale, pulling our heart through and up, cat. Really pushing that belly down into the mat. And exhale, arching the spine, arching the shoulder blades, tucking in the tailbone, reaching towards the crown of the head, down towards the mat. Inhale, pulling our heart through. And exhale, rounding and arching. And now we're going to follow the rhythm of our own breath and intuitively tune in, moving the body, how it is asking. Maybe you're focusing on some nice big hip circles to still work on really getting into those hips, to begin to awaken them, to begin to open them, begin to soften them. There is no right or wrong movement. Just follow your breath, keeping the focus on the hip space, because we will get deep into those hips today, so it is best that we warm them up properly. And coming into stillness on the tabletop, we're going to bring our right leg out to our side so the foot is in line with our knee. And our arms going to be at a 45-degree angle, reaching forward. We really feel it in our right hamstring area. Taking an inhale, exhale, sending your breath into the hip space. Maybe you reach a little further. And exhale. You slowly rise up, reaching over your right leg, coming in for a side bend as we fold over our right leg. We are also reaching to the right side. Inhale for some length, and exhale, soften. Inhale for some length, and exhale, coming all the way up. Bringing our left hand behind us onto our heel, right arm reaching towards the back of the mat, pushing our hips up and forward. So we feel a nice stretch in our left hip flexor. Taking a big inhale here, and exhale. Release, bringing our hands down into the mat and pulling them forward so we come into a puppy pose with the right foot still out. Chest is melting down towards the mat. Your arms are kept at shoulder width apart. Seeing on your exhales, you can allow yourself to soften and bring the chest closer to the mat. Your forehead can rest on the mat as well, chin or chest. Taking an inhale and exhale. Coming back, bringing our hands together, bringing our right foot, bending the knee, keeping it off the ground, bringing our right foot up and behind us, pushing into our right hand, and we're going to grab our foot or our foot with our left hand. And we're going to push our foot into our hand as our hand is pulling into our foot. Inhale here. Exhale. We feel a nice stretch in the shoulder and the right hip flexor. Inhale here. And on your exhale, let go of the foot, bringing your right foot behind your left foot. And we lean back so our feet are in cow face position, keeping our hands where they are, leaning our hips back, coming into a fold, stretching out those hips. Taking a big inhale. And exhale, we slowly rise up, coming into Gokumasama, cow face pose. Inhale, arms up. And exhale, arms come through, maybe they rest on your feet. I'm just breathing into our hip space here. One more inhale. And on your next exhale, leaning forward, pushing your hands onto the front of the mat. And coming back into your tabletop position. On your next inhale, we're going to bring the left foot out to the side, foot even with the knee. And bringing our hands at a 45-degree angle to our left, folding and reaching forward. Reaching our chest towards the ground as our hands are pulling us. On an inhale, see if you can reach a little further. Exhale, see if you can soften. Inhale. Exhale, rising up, folding over our left leg. Reaching our right hand over our head, coming into a side stretch over our left leg. Inhale for some length. Exhale, see if you can fold and reach a little deeper. Inhale. And exhale, rising up, bringing our right arm behind us onto our heel as our left hand comes up and reaches all the way towards the back of the mat, almost like a half camel. Hips are pushing forward and up, so we feel that nice stretch on our right hip flexor. Squeeze the glute muscles. Inhale here and exhale. Release, bringing our hands in front of us and reaching them forward, coming into this half puppy pose. Again, keeping them at shoulder width apart. Inhale and exhale, soften, closer down into the mat, letting your heart melt down. Inhale, maybe you reach a little further. And exhale, pushing into your hands. And bending the left knee, bringing your foot up, pushing into your left, the weight into your left hand, and using your right to grab your left foot, pushing the foot into the hand as your hand is pulling onto the foot, kicking it up. Inhale here. Exhale. Inhale. And on your exhale, letting go of your foot, bringing your foot behind your right knee into the cow face legs, and pushing, leaving your hands where they are, pushing your hips all the way back, coming over, folding over your knees. Breathing into the hip space, breathe into your side body. Inhale here, and exhale slowly, rising up into Gokonasana, cow face pose. Inhale, arms up above your head, and exhale, bringing them through to heart center. They can stay, hands can stay here, or they can gently rest on your feet as you breathe into your hip space, really stretching out the hips here. Taking an inhale, and on your next exhale, coming forward. Untucking your legs, uncrossing your legs, tucking your toes, pushing into your feet and your hands, slowly rising up into downward facing dog. Pedaling out the feet just a little. Evenly pushing into our hands, as well as pulling our heels down in towards the mat. Tailbone pointing up towards the sky. Very active here. Strong legs, strong arms, strong shoulders. Taking an inhale. Exhale out of mouth. On our next inhale, we look in between our hands and we take a hop or steps to the front of the mat. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold over to forward fold. Inhale, we rise up, head coming up last, arms coming above our head. Inhale for some length. Exhale, hands come through to heart center. Taking a big inhale, arms raise up, pushing our hips forward for just a slight back bend. And exhale, hinging at the hips, coming through down to Uttanasana, forward fold. Inhale, straightening the spine, reaching forward, halfway lift. And exhale, bringing our hands onto our mat, stepping our right foot back into a runner's lunge. Taking an inhale here. And on your exhale, bringing our left arm all the way up to the sky, coming into a twist. Inhale. And exhale, we drop the back knee and reach our left hand towards the back of the mat. Left knee falling outward. We're pushing our hips down towards the mat. Inhale here. Exhale. And inhale. Bringing our hands back to frame our right foot, tucking in our toe. Pushing our left foot back into a plank, leaning forward, chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale, push up into downward facing dog. Inhale, looking between the hands, taking a hop or steps to the mat, halfway lift. Exhale, folding over. Inhale, we rise, arms coming up all the way up above our head. Slight back bend, hips pushing forward. And exhale, hinging at the hips, coming all the way down to forward fold. Inhale, reaching forward, halfway lift, and exhale, hands coming onto the mat, bringing our left foot back to a runner's lunge, heart and chest shining forward. Inhale here. Exhale, bringing our right hand up into the sky, coming into a twist. Inhale here. Exhale, dropping the back knee, bringing our right arm behind us to reach towards the back of the mat. Right knee comes outward a little bit, so you're on the side of your right foot, really pushing our hips down into the mat. Inhale here. Exhale, soften. Inhale, coming back to frame the foot, pushing into the hands to step our right foot back to meet the left. Plank, lean forward, chaturanga. Upward facing dog. And pushing back, bringing our knees as wide as the mat, toes together, bringing our hips back towards our heels, coming into child's pose. Forehead meets the ground. Arms are reaching towards the front of the mat. Hips are pulling us in the opposite direction. Breathing into that hip space. Maybe it's starting to feel a little more loose, a little more expansive. Taking a big inhale here. And exhale, we're going to roll forward onto our belly. Coming into cobra. On our next inhale, we're going to bend our right knee. Coming in onto our hands, tuck the toe. And we're going to bring it behind us and push ourselves up into wild thing. Really engaging and squeezing the glutes, lifting our hips up, feeling the expansiveness in our hips, taking an inhale. And exhale, coming through, staying, bringing our right knee to our nose. And inhale, we bring it up into three-legged dog. And exhale, bringing our knee through, over to the left side under our left arm. Bringing our left arm up, coming into fallen triangle. Inhale here, really gauge the glutes, push the hips up. And exhale, bringing our glutes down onto the mat. Coming into a wide leg position here. Slightly have an arch in the back. And folding forward, reaching with our chest. Inhale for some length. And on your exhale, going towards the left foot into a folding over our left and twisting. Keeping our heart shining through and forward. Feeling a nice long stretch from our hip to our side body all the way through. Inhale. Exhale, turning to face our leg to fold over. Inhale for some length. Foot is engaged, so your toes are pointed upward. And exhale, fold. Inhale, slowly rising up, bringing our hands in the front of the mat, keeping our right leg out. So we just come in for a little stretch here. Inhale here. Exhale, tuck the left toe, push and step back, and bringing it up into downward facing dog. Rolling forward and just coming right into a tall cobra position. And now this time we're going to bend our left push into our hands, tuck our toe, and we're going to bring our foot behind us, coming in, lifting our left arm up, coming into wild thing on the opposite side, squeezing the glutes, pushing our hips high, high, high up into the air. Inhale here, and exhale, release, bringing our right knee to nose. Inhale, bringing it up into three-legged dog. Exhale, bending at the knee, bringing it through under our right arm, coming into and raising our right arm above, coming into fallen triangle. Inhale here, again squeezing the glutes, pushing up the hips. And exhale, we come down to sit on our glutes into a wide leg position, keeping a slight arch in our back. Inhaling and exhale, reaching forward. Doesn't matter how close to the ground we are. What we want to feel is the stretch right in our hips and upper hamstring area. Using your exhales to breathe into the space, soften. Your inhale to reach a little further. Keeping the back straight. Inhale here. And on the exhale, reach over to your right foot. So we come into a side twist. Keeping your heart shining forward and through. And you want to also make sure your left hip is staying grounded. So we have an opposite force of pull in directions. Inhale here, and exhale, return to square over our right leg to fold. You inhale for some length, and exhale. Inhale, slowly rise up, bringing our hands to the front of the mat, leaving our left foot where it is, and turning over just so we come into a nice little stretch. Inhale here, and exhale, stepping our foot back into plank and chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale, tucking your toes, pushing the hips up, coming in to downward facing dog. Bending the knees, taking a hop or steps to the front of the mat. Inhale, lifting the chest, reaching forward, halfway lift. And exhale, fold. Inhale, up all the way, hands above your head. And exhale, hands come through down to heart center and Anjali Mudra at your heart. On our next inhale, we're going to raise our arms and step back into a lunge. So inhale here. And exhale, stepping your right foot all the way back into a high lunge. Inhale. And on our exhale, we're going to come into Skandasana on the left, on the right. Taking an inhale, maybe our arm comes down, we reach up. And exhale, coming over through to the front, straightening our left leg, coming into a wide triangle. Inhale for some length, and exhale, folding over our right leg. We may need to push your left hip back just a little so your hips are square towards the front of the mat. On an inhale, you find some length, and exhale, you fold deeper. On our next inhale, we're going to lean and put our weight onto our left foot and forward. And we're going to push up and put our hands in our foot and come into a half moon. So just like this, maybe even a slight bend. And our left hand is just slightly in front of us because it's going to want to be directly under our shoulder. So right arm comes up towards the sky. Right foot is engaged. Hip is shining outwards. Inhale here. Exhale, bend at the foot, at the knee, grabbing the foot, pushing our hand pushing our foot into the hand as our hand is pulling down slightly. Inhale here, really feeling that hip open, that hip stretch, the expansiveness. Inhale here. And exhale, bending the knee. Keeping that balance, find your drishti point to slowly rise up. Hands come at heart center. Ooh. Knee to chest. Inhale here. Exhale, bringing your foot right above the knee. Really keeping that foot flexed. Coming into a standing figure four. And on the exhale, slowly lowering down. Feel a nice stretch, opening up that right hip. Taking an inhale here. And on your next exhale, slowly coming all the way down, bending down, bringing your hands down to the mat. And keeping the foot into a figure four position. Coming onto our glutes. And now onto a seated figure four. Again, foot stays engaged. And we are pushing our right knee outward. So it's not lazy, it's still active. So we push the right knee outward. Feeling that, opening up that hip, that right hip. Taking an inhale. Exhale, breathe into the space. Inhale here. And on your next exhale, fire log position. So you want to keep your left foot parallel to the top of the mat, and same with your right. So you want the shins, the calves, right on top of each other. Both parallel with the mat. It's okay if your knees are up here. The goal is to feel the stretch and feel the sensation in your hips. So on an inhale, raising our arms up. And on an exhale, we're going to twist to the left, bringing our hands down through to our heart center and using our elbow into our foot, really pushing into the foot so it enables us to keep our hands at our heart center and to twist to the left. Gaze can look upward or downward. Breathing into the hip space. I know this is a deep one. Taking an inhale here. And exhale, release, and we fold forward. Surrendering, trusting ourselves, trusting our breath to guide us, our breath to release and expand us. Maybe finding some length on an inhale, softening into the position, into your hips on an exhale. Slow, deep breaths, letting your body know that it's safe to be in this position. Inhale here, and exhale, slowly rising up. Keeping the right shin down, parallel to the front of the mat as we swing our left leg behind us, coming into pigeon. And you want to keep your shin as parallel to the front of the mat as you can. Otherwise, if you're a little more in, you could bend your left. So we're at 90-90. So the goal is to have your hip reaching and squaring off to the front of the mat, keeping your right foot flexed, coming into pigeon pose. Taking an inhale, and exhale, we slowly lean and reach forward. First the belly, and the chest, head comes last. We can stay on our elbows here, or if you feel and you have the openness to go a little deeper, you can bring your arms out and bring your forehead down to the ground. Pushing that left hip down towards the mat to square your hips towards the front so you really feel the stretch a lot on your right side, your right hip flexor, even a little bit of the hamstrings. Again, long, deep inhales and exhales, arriving into the space, arriving into this position. breathing to soften. As you soften your breath and as you breathe deeper, you may find that your body just naturally starts relaxing more into the position, starts letting go. Allow it to surrender. Allow it to let go. One more inhale. And exhale, slowly coming back up, push into the hands. Tucking the right toes. And bringing back, pushing our hips up right into a downward facing dog. Maybe need to pedal out the feet since we got into that hip pretty deep in that sequence. Now we will do it on the left side. And an inhale, bend at the knees or walk to the front of the mat. Inhale, halfway lift, exhale, fold. Inhale, we rise all the way up, hands all the way up. And on our exhale, we're going to step our left foot back this time into a high lunge as our hands come through. As our hands come through to heart center. Really keeping that back leg straight. Really pushing our hips down towards the mat. Inhale here. And exhale, we come into Skandasana. Left. Maybe our hand comes down and up. Right. Skandasana on the right. Maybe our hand comes down and up. Inhale here. And exhale, coming to face the front of the mat. Leg straight, we come into a wide triangle pose. Inhale for some length. And exhale, folding over our right foot. Again, maybe we need to pull our right hip back just so slightly so our hips are even and square towards the front of the mat. You can be on your fingertips, your hands, or if you need to use blocks, you can feel free to use blocks to help yourself. Inhale for some length. And exhale, fold. Inhaling here. And on the next exhale, we're going to do the same. So we're going to put our weight onto our right foot. Bring our hands just a little forward, maybe slightly bend in the knee. And kick, bringing ourselves up into half moon. And our body is out and open facing the left. Hip is shining forward, heart is shining forward. Inhale here. Exhale, bending at the knee, grabbing the foot or the ankle. Pushing the foot into the hand as the hand is pulling onto our foot. Slight arch in the back. Inhale here. And exhale. Find that drishti. Really bringing the weight onto your right leg. Coming up. Keeping that drishti focus, that focus point. Inhale here. And as we exhale, we bring our left foot over just above our right knee. Foot is flexed. Figure four, standing figure four. So we still want to keep on working and pushing our right knee out so it's active and really stretching into the left hip. So we inhale and exhale, bend down as if we're doing chair pose. So we could really feel into that hip. Inhale here and exhale, we slowly coming all the way down onto the mat, keeping the figure four position. Tailbone comes onto the mat. Left foot is still engaged and pushing out. Knee is pushing outward. Using our exhales to breathe into our left hip to help soften, to help open it. Inhale here. And on our exhale, bring our right shin down so it's parallel to the front of the mat. So fire log position on the opposite side. And bringing our left shin over. Again, it doesn't matter how high the knees are or anything like that, as long as we feel the deep stretch and sensation into the hips. Inhale, our arms come up. And exhale, hands come down through to heart center in prayer as we twist to our right. And our left elbow comes onto the sole of our right foot, pushing our elbow into the foot so it helps us twist and it helps keep our hands at heart center. Gaze can be looking up or down. Inhaling, really push into the hands. Exhale. Inhale. And exhale, release. Turn towards the front of the mat and folding over. This is a really deep hip stretch. I did not like it at first, but no, it's honestly one of my favorites. It feels really good. Deep, long breaths to loosen, soften, and breathe into the hips. Start opening and expanding them more. Maybe reaching a little further. And exhale slowly. Coming up, bringing our left shin onto the ground, and we swing our right leg back and behind us, coming into pigeon. Again, trying to keep the left foot flexed and parallel towards the top of the mat. We want to aim for both of our hips to reach down towards the mat and keep them square and center. So the right hip is opening and pushing towards the front. So we inhale and exhale. We slowly lean and fold over. You can stay on your elbows. You can stay on your hands if this is enough for you, as long as you feel the stretch. If you want to go a little deeper, you can come onto your elbows. Or if you have the openness, you can come onto your hands and your forehead onto the ground. Using your breath to allow you to soften, or signaling to your body that this position is safe, and maybe your body is naturally softening and allowing the position to happen. One more inhale and exhale. Slowly rise up, pushing into your hands, bringing your left foot back and pushing ourselves right up into downward facing dog. Maybe pedaling out the feet just a little bit here. And on an inhale, we're going to raise our right leg, coming into three-legged dog, bending the knee. And we're going to bring it not all the way over like a wild thing. We're going to arch our spine and pull our foot towards our head. Arch and really feel it in your right hip. Taking an inhale and exhale, bringing it through knee to forehead. And inhale, three-legged dog. And exhale, bringing our foot through to the front of the mat, dropping our left knee down onto the ground. And on an inhale, coming up into low lunge, really pushing our hips forward and down into the mat. So we're really opening up and feeling the stretch here in our hip flexor. Inhale, maybe a slight arch in our back. And exhale, bringing our right arm through, coming into a twist. So our arms are reaching in opposite directions as our hips are being pushed down into the mat here. Inhale. Exhale, bringing our hand onto our leg as our left arm reaches up and behind us, still keeping that hip pulling down towards the mat. Inhale here and exhale. Release, framing the right foot, straightening the leg, and coming to sit all the way on to our glute. Just kind of bring the left into a half lotus here. So the left foot is right on top of our thigh. Inhale, arms up. And exhale, refold and reach forward. Using our breath again to soften and fold deeper. Inhale. Exhale, slowly release. Bring in our left hand behind us, and we're going to come onto our knee like a kickstand. And bringing our knee is even with our foot and our hands. And we bring our right arm reaching, and our hand is directly below our shoulder. And our right arm is reaching, really reaching towards the back of the mat. And your heart, there's a slight arch in your back, so your heart is pulling and shining through and forward. The side of the foot is pulling towards the mat, so we feel a nice full stretch all the way through our hip, from feet through hands. Inhale here, and exhale, pushing into your left hand, bending the knee, grabbing the foot. And there's a slight arch in our back, so our inhale here, and exhale. We come up, and we come back through, bringing ourselves back into a low lunge. Inhale here, and on our exhale, we push into our hands, tuck our toe, and step our foot back into downward facing dog. Now inhale, bring in our left foot up, bending at the knee, and a slight arch into our back, so our foot is reaching towards our head. Feeling that really great stretch onto our left hip flexor. Inhaling here, exhaling, pulling through, bringing your knee to forehead, and inhale, pushing up into three-legged dog, and exhale, bringing that left foot through to the front of the mat in between our hands, dropping our back leg, coming into low lunge. Inhale, come up, bringing our hands up, maybe a slight arch in the back, and again, making sure and keeping that hip pushing down and forward, really getting into that expansiveness there. Inhale, and exhale, arms come out. Arms come out to our side for a twist as our hip is still being pushed down towards the mats. Inhale here, and exhale, hand comes down on our leg, maybe even the mats. Right arm comes reaching towards the back of the mat. Hips, keep that left knee engaged so it's staying inward and it's not falling out on the outside of your foot. Stretching those hips, pulling them towards the mat. Inhale here, and exhale, straightening the left foot and coming all the way back into a half seated lotus. Inhale, arms up, slight arch in the back so we keep our back nice and tall and straight. And exhale, we lean and reach forward into a fold, keeping our left foot engaged so our toes are pointed up. Aiming for the belly towards the chest and the heart really shining and reaching, pulling through and forward. Letting our breath guide us to soften. Inhaling here. And on an exhale, as we come up, we come onto, we bring our right hand next to our right hip and push up, coming onto our knee. So our foot, knee, and hand are in line. Hand is below our shoulder. Outside edge of the foot is pulling down towards the mat. Left arm is reaching over your head all the way towards the back of the mat. You really feel this nice long line of energy coming all the way, rooting down from the ground, all the way up and through your hip space, through your arm, all the way through your fingertips, really feeling that expansiveness. Heart is still shining a little, shining forward. It's not melting. Inhale here. Exhale, pushing into the right hand, bending your left knee and grabbing it with your left hand, pulling onto the foot as your foot is pushing into your hand. Slight arch in the back. Maybe head reaches back a little bit, taking a big inhale, really feeling and opening up that hip. And exhale. Bringing it back as we rise and come to turn the front of the mat, bending the front knee and bringing ourselves back into a low lunge. Inhale. And we exhale, push into the hands, pushing up into downward facing dog. Inhale here. And exhale, we slowly drop our knees to the mat, as wide like the mat, toes together, pushing our hips back into a child's pose. Forehead comes to meet the ground, arms really reaching, hips really pulling towards the back of the mat. Taking a big inhale here, and exhale, slowly coming up and coming to bring our feet in front of us, and we sit on our glutes here. Bringing our hands behind us so the fingertips are facing the front of the mat. We're going to come into a reverse plank. So we're going to push into our hands and push and squeeze our glutes, so we're lifting our hips up towards the sky, lifting our chest up. Our shoulders are still away from our head. So prepare, pushing our hands into the ground. Inhale, rise. Head can look back. Inhale here. And exhale, release. Bringing the soles of our feet together, coming into Baddha Konasana, butterfly pose. Knees are pulling down towards the ground. Again, our spine, we want to make sure is elongated and tall. We feel a slight arch on the back of our spine. We inhale and exhale. Maybe we lean our heart just a little forward, stretching into our hips here. Doesn't matter how far you go, it's just the sensation we're going for, the stretch. Listening to your body for the depth that you can go. Inhale and exhale, release, slowly bringing our knees together. Maybe we need to sit a little further on our mat and coming down onto our back. Feet are hip width apart. Maybe our fingertips just brush right up against our heels, coming into a bridge. So we're going to push into our hands, really squeeze our glutes and push our hips up to the sky. Inhale here and exhale. Release. One more time. Inhale. Push. And exhale. Release. Bringing our feet next to us, so our feet are next to our hips. And we're keeping our back on the ground. I'm just feeling. And you're kind of engaging your knees still, so they're pulling towards the mat. Engage them to really push them, pull them down towards the mat, in the front of the mat, and you feel a nice stretch in your quads through your hips. Maybe your arms even go above your head for a nice long stretch. Inhaling here And exhale. Release. Coming on to your elbows. And slowly coming up to a seated. Taking an inhale. Bringing your left foot over your right. Inhale, arms up. And exhale, we twist to our left, so our left arm is behind us. Gaze is looking towards the back of the mat. Our right arm can just hook the elbow, or maybe it goes through and reaches through to our right hip. Maybe we grab it and go for a full bind, twisting to our left, exhaling to soften and deepen the twist. Inhale here. And now if you want to go for it, we'll bring our leg up to our chest. Maybe you grab the shins, the heel, the toes, wherever your body allows you. Bringing it to our chest, you want to push your chest forward and up. So the belly is going towards the thigh. And try to straighten. It doesn't matter where your leg is at. It's about keeping it straight and really feeling the stretch. So inhale. And we can stay here. If you want to go for the position, we will bring our knee over our left shoulder and that left arm under and through onto the ground on our left side, keeping our right hand, grabbing the foot or the ankle, and we want to push the chest forward so it's still trying to reach and shine forward. And it's about keeping the leg straight. So even if you're here or you're up here, just keep the legs as straight as you can. Push the heart. Maybe the gaze looks upward. Inhale. Exhale. Release. We're going to cradle our leg here. So it's almost like the shape as if it's in a pigeon. Resting the foot by your elbow. Just kind of cradle. And dropping the foot on your side. Now we bring the right foot over our left knee. Inhale, arms up. And exhale, we turn and twist to the right. And hook the elbow here. Right arm is behind us. Gaze is looking behind us over the shoulder. You can keep your hand hooked, or you can bring it through and just grab your hip. Or you can go for the full bind, bringing your right arm to meet the left. Twisting the body, keeping the gaze over your right shoulder. Using your exhales to soften and twist a little deeper. Keeping the back elongated and straight as well. Inhale here. Exhale. Turn and face the front of the mat. And grabbing the shin, heel, foot, toes, wherever you can grab it. Straightening the leg, bringing it as close to your body as you can. Aiming for the thigh to meet the belly. Back straight, heart reaching forward. Inhale here. Exhale, soften. Inhale. And you can stay here. Or you can go ahead and grab the foot with your left hand, bringing the right arm down, and the knee high over the shoulder, or as tricep as you can, as the right arm comes through to the right. And we will straighten the right leg. Again, we want to try to shine our heart forward and through and straighten the leg as much as we can. Inhale here. Exhale, slowly coming out of it, cradling our leg. So bringing the foot right onto the forearm. Bringing it into the same as if it was pigeon. And just kind of wiggle out our hip. And bringing back. And slowly coming to lie down onto our back. Bringing our knees and soles up and soles of the feet down onto the mat. Inhaling to give ourselves a little hug. How do your hips feel? We're going to grab the outer edges of our feet and come into happy baby pose. As we do, we push our feet towards the sky and into our hands as our hands are pulling our feet down towards the mat. Opposite forces here. We really pulling our knees down towards the mat. And you want to keep your whole spine flat onto the mat from the back of the neck all the way to the tailbone. So you're also pushing your tailbone and your spine down into the mat. If you want, you can straighten out your legs. Maybe you want to rock side to side to massage the back as well. Bringing our legs together. Again, still keeping the whole back flat onto the mat. Grabbing behind our thighs, shins, ankles, feet. And just pulling our feet towards us. Bending the knees. Straightening out the right leg, keeping the left knee bent. Taking an inhale. And on an exhale, we're going to twist over, bringing our knee over to our right. Arm comes out like a T, and our head and gaze is looking over to our left. Hand can stay placed on the knee, pulling it down towards the ground. And we want our shoulder blade to make contact with the ground. So even if you're up here, just have the sensation and pull that shoulder blade towards the mat. Again, letting that breath guide you, letting that breath allow you to soften with the deep inhales and exhales, coming into a safe space. Taking a big inhale. Exhale. Allow yourself to twist and soften more. Taking an inhale and exhale. Coming back through to center and switching legs, so straightening out the left leg. Inhaling, right knee in. And exhale, bringing that right knee over to the left. Right arm out like a T, and gaze is looking over to the right. Again, with pulling that right collarbone towards the mat as we're pushing our knee down towards the ground. So we're feeling the nice twist here. Taking a big inhale. Exhale, using our breath to soften, twist deeper. Taking an inhale. And exhale to twist. Inhale, coming back to center. Giving yourself another little hug. Maybe your forehead comes to your knees. Appreciate your body. Inhale here. Exhale. Inhale. holding at the top. And when you're ready to exhale, you exhale out of your mouth. Straighten out your legs and arms into Shavasana. So your feet come a little wider than the mat. Arms at your side, palms facing up. Surrendering to the ground. Letting ourselves be soft. Letting our bodies integrate the practice and integrate to its new expansiveness, its new openness. Bringing softness into our face, softening the eyebrows, the space in between the eyebrows. Our inner gaze is nice and soft and gentle. Softening our jaw, letting our tongue relax. Softening our throat, our collarbone, letting our heart melt back into the ground. Softening and relaxing our shoulders, our arms, our fingertips. Softening our breath, our rib cage. Softening our hips. Softening our thighs, our knees, our calves, our feet. Also letting go of the mind and just letting ourselves be present, be alive. Alive in the stillness. Alive in the softness. Allowing this new openness and expansiveness to integrate through your body and your whole being. So you can be more open and expansive with the flow of life, with acceptance, with letting things go. You can stay in Shavasana as long as you'd like. I'm going to take your time. There's no rush. When you're ready, bend, come into a fetal position, using your arm, and slowly coming up into a seated position, keeping the eyes closed. Inner gaze. Bringing our hands to heart center. taking a moment to thank yourself for giving yourself this time today, showing up for yourself, for allowing yourself this time to tune inward, to open up, to expand your horizons. Taking a big inhale here together. Exhale out of the mouth. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. May you think, speak, and lead and go out in this world with kind, loving thoughts to yourself and to all other living beings. Thank you so much for tuning in today and practicing with me. Namaste.